Are we here?
Yes, we are.
Are we on?
Yes, we are.
Well, please come on over and join me.
Okay.
I didn't know what was happening for a minute. I thought that maybe I was in another studio or something. I know this place looked familiar.
Ah, I'm glad of that.
Hey, where are you coming from?
Oh, Tai Chi.
Tai Chi.
Yes, indeed.
Do they wear clothes like this in Tai Chi?
It's encouraged to wear loose clothes as opposed to tight clothes. But if you're in a work environment and you have to wear what is comfortable at work, then perhaps before you go to bed, put on your pajamas and wear some loose clothes so that the chi will flow.
Oh, okay.
And the chi works as preventive medicine.
Well, okay, I tried off being smart other kid, then I got my comeuppance.
And there you
Thanks.
go. Okay. Oh,
This is Zola Salena-Hawkins.
this
My
is
name is Odie
Odie
Hawkins.
Hawkins.
And of course, as you can see what is happening, she caught me at the past again. We're having a little libation. I'm drinking tea.
I'm drinking ginger beer.
And,
It's ginger, not beer.
Ooh, that's too bad.
I like cold beer from Ghana. So, club beer. Club beer from Ghana. I don't like club beer.
In any case, let's take this off in this fashion. For those of you who seen us do what we're doing right here from time to time, you know that we've been at this for 3-4 years now.
Yes, yes.
Is that long?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We've been sitting.
We've been busy writing, so we just keep adding stuff.
Okay, we keep adding, and here we go.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is to acquaint you, the audience, hey buddies, hey friends, to acquaint you with works that I've written over a period of time. Mm-hmm. And I just happened, I just happened to have 38 books in print, and really, I know this sounds unbelievable, but really about 38 more in the pipeline. The difficulty with the pipeline is that they frequently will not accept what it is that I'm feeding the pipeline, not because the work is bad or not because it's awkward or is ungrammatical.
The social norms of the time.
They don't like the subject matter.
Social norms of the time.
That's a polite way to put it. Social norms of the time.
Of the time.
Yeah.
Okay, time, I mean, if you look at Canterbury Tales where ankles were, he saw her
it's true.
Ankle exposed, oh my goodness, what did you do with the miniskirt? Or the polka dot bikini?
Okay, well said, Zola.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
For those who are not familiar with what's happening in the United States, specifically, what we find happening is something that is untenable and probably unsuitable and certainly un-American and certainly unconstitutional. So having said all of that, let me start off by saying this.
Please.
We've taken a 2-week hiatus. Missed us? Well,
I hope so.
It happens. We do. And the answer to the question, why did we take the 2-week hiatus? We wanted to take a break from all of the chaos that El Tromposo, I got the Spanish name from a friend of mine named Julio, who I asked him one day, well, let me ask you, Julio, what do Mexican Americans think of what is happening in the country where they worked very hard and contributing taxes without representation and so forth and so on. Mm-hmm. What do you call this guy? He gave me the name, El Tromposo. We wanted to take a break from all of the chaos that El Tromposo has inflicted on our country to sit down and quietly process what was happening. Of course, we didn't succeed. but we did corral a lot of our spiritual and emotional forces, the ones that we've been previously taking for granted. That's number one. For me, for myself, and also for you, I'm speaking for both of us.
Yeah, most definitely.
Is it cool?
It is cool. It is cool. You know, we can only deal with on our plate basically our concern with the whole world and what else is going on. And I especially am concerned with the children that are being, you know, all the books that are banned.
Ooh.
And heaven forbid they go to another country, and other countries from Japan, England, so forth. They will know Huckleberry Finn. They will know Grapes of Wrath. You know,
They will know our history.
They will know our history better than the children who are not being exposed to the classics. You know, just because there's some people who don't understand that we are not an island. Okay, the world is much smaller now, and it's just unfortunate because I can imagine how embarrassed a young person growing up will say, no, I've never read that, and I've never read that, and I've never read that, and I don't know about that.
It was banned.
It was banned.
As an African American writer, speaking for myself and both of us, we are making every effort to reaffirm our African identity in America, no matter how racist some of America's sons have misbehaved, are misbehaving. The whole thing of having the son of immigrant Germans try to stop African American history from being better exposed, more relevant to America's place on the planet is stupid. It's stupid. I'll repeat it just one more time. STUPIDE. Stupid.
Okay.
No, let me add another E to that. STUPIDEE. Stupid.
Okay.
Period.
Phonetically spelled. Okay.
The African engravings on America are profound, deep, forever. Those who hate to admit that, who want to bury our history, are doomed to failure. You can't degrade what Africans have done for America, with America, and to America.
You know, and I like the comment that, you know, there are some of our people who say you're just Americans, and I'd like to say they're Irish Americans, they're Polish Americans, they're Indian Americans, they're German Americans, and all of a sudden those from Africa are only
just
Americans.
Just American.
In fact, whites coming to this country and becoming citizens are now African Americans. Go figure.
Okay, we're going to get to that in a story that I've written in a book called Urban Nomads. In Urban Nomads. No, the book is called Quadroon Balls. Quadroon Balls.
Is it in Quadroon? Oh, it is in Quadroon.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, right, okay. It's a different version
Let's remember what it is.
Right, okay.
Let's remember what we're trying to push here.
There you go.
And I'm not saying pushing in drug terms, but
encourage.
reveal.
Right.
And one of the things that I'll talk about in a minute is African American. The African engravings on America are profound, deep, forever. Those who hate to admit that, who want to bury our history, are doomed to failure. You can't degrade what Africans have done for America, with America, and to America. And you have to be very stupid to try to do something that stupid. Now then, let me go on to the next page of my would-be outlines. Now then, let's get down to the real reason why we're here with you again on this beautiful afternoon.
Okay, we're sitting here on the cyber sales corner to try to sell you books. Be careful, don't hurt my husband. Written by this man, Odie Hawkins. And this is a great time to take time to read a good book. Okay? I strongly suggest my husband's books because they have such a variety of genres, and you can go from the science fiction to the romantic to the scary and the bullfight, and just a variety of subjects that I think would hold most people's interest. And he writes his characters so that you believe they're real people. And there have been times when I've been thinking about a story that I've read of his, and then I'll say, oh, Chester is not real. He's in several of his books, but he's not real. And he makes the stories believable.
Let me stop. Let me stop you for a minute.
Yes.
This woman is always surprising me because, okay, first of all, I have to say to the audience at large, this is my wife. This is my treasure for life. And I know what that means.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm learning sign language too.
I like that.
Yeah. You help me, I help you.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is that she can say the most surprising things. First of all, this is not someone who automatically endorses everything that I write.
Yes, there is a book called
There is
Shilly.
a book.
Shilly, okay, or The Black Casanova. It's a piece of, but some people like it.
Okay, but there are others too that mean she is an ideal audience for a writer who's asking for appreciation and objectivity. Let me explain what I mean. Sometimes writers are fortunate or maybe unfortunate enough to have family members who endorse everything they write. Rubber stamp writer, oh, love that. Terrible, terrible work. I'm being forced because of the proximity of our relationship.
And we communicate with each other quite often.
You better believe it. And I've been told from time to time, oh, really? That? Or words to that effect. Not very often because I'm careful to not ask to be whipped.
Well, and also because you actually do an outline, you do character sketches so that you make the people believable.
I'm trying.
And even with their flaws or their relationships, a husband and wife relationship, it's
you have to get to that.
Yeah.
We've been doing a number of things concerning Tai Chi. This may seem like it's a little bit off somewhere, but it's related, it's interrelated in a sense. One of the things we found after 20-some years of being practitioners of Tai Chi, my arm didn't get this way doing Tai Chi. The shoulder needed to be replacement because one of the ball bearings was wearing out. So don't think that Tai Chi will cause you to wind up in a sling.
Unless you're shoveling barracks. But anyway, moving right on.
Moving right along.
Moving right along.
Anyway, when you wind up going into a certain area of endeavor and you wonder how best to approach this, you might do it in this way. You might do it in some other way also, but you might do it in this way. You might start off thinking about what it is that you need to do to express yourself. Maybe it's painting, maybe it's dancing,
sculpture,
cooking,
photograph,
name it. I've chosen, or maybe it chose me, to write about what was happening in my world. And because Zola is a writer also, she has low level some of her writing talents in order to help me do what I'm doing. I don't know if that's wife-like or if it's just simply empathy for a fellow human being. She looked at me and said, poor fellow.
I believe in him.
I believe in him. He needs some help. Come on. Let's be real now.
Yeah.
Poor fellow. He needs some help. So she's giving me that help, and I deeply appreciate it. But I don't want to get stuck in an emotional rat hole here. Not rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole. Thank you very much.
Not
Anyway,
rat.
I was born in the year of the rat, but thank you very much.
You know,
Okay.
that's what came to my mind. Rat, Zola, rat. But you're not a rat.
No. But rats are very smart. They
You
know when
better
to leave. They know when to leave the ship.
They know when to leave the ship. So we wind up with these books. The thing that's funny about it, as far as I'm concerned, is that I never ever considered the idea of writing works that would entice people to read them.
Mhm.
The most important thing to me was to tell the story that I wanted to tell. And for a long time, I disregarded what happened to them after I wrote them.
Yes, but I know sometimes they're like children you've given birth to, and they're like, bye, I'll see you one day. You know, it's like you see them off. You know, like you don't particularly care for Sweet Peter Dieter, so and that's the first of the trilogy. But
Well, let's explain that.
Okay, well, let me just finish that.
Sure.
Okay, Professor Justin Gifford took that book to a prison to teach writing class, and we sent him enough books for each of his students so that each of his students would have Sweet Peter Dieter to read.
Okay,
And
Sweet Peter Dieter. Sweet Peter Dieter may not be a common, run-of-the-day, well-known figure. Well, he might be known by other names, but this was a person that I knew way back when in Chicago who was a pimp. He was not a brutal guerrilla pimp. He was an intellectual pimp. His idea of seducing a woman into going out to sell her body for him was to try to convince her that she needed him in order to survive. Put this all together, and you got something that's more puzzling to me than any psychological puzzle I've ever dealt with. In any case, he suggested to me that when you get out there and start doing that writing, tell my story. Try to tell my story. Do it. Okay. I tried to tell his story, and according to Zola Salena-Hawkins, I didn't do such a great job of telling his story or just telling the story. And over time, after having reread the book,
well, initially it was done by Holloway House. It was published by Holloway House, and they typed his written manuscript. They didn't correct any typos, and so there's that issue. But when the book came out, it sold 20,000 copies, and there was a memo on one of the gentleman's office desk saying, "Why has that not been reprinted again?" You know, so. It definitely is.
Okay, well, but they weren't concerned about the intrinsic story. They were just concerned about the money.
Right, yeah.
What we looked at it, what I looked at, being prompted by you, what I looked at is, it's not such a great story and it's not so well written, and because it's being accepted by Holloway House in its present form, I think I've done myself a disservice. Let me explain what I mean. It's being published by Holloway House, which is now defunct. Thank God. But I thought, it's not such a good book. So,
but it's not all that bad either because it's still very popular.
It's still okay, but that's the interesting thing too. It has nothing to do with it being republished, reissued. Mein Kampf has been pretty widely known. It's not a great book,
right?
And why it should be republished or reissued.
Well, for those that have been brought up square, okay, it's
Sweet Peter Dieter is
the street life. Yeah, it's hip. Street life. And some folks going to Harvard or Yale may think, well, I could have been a pimp too.
I can see it.
All I need is to follow Sweet Peter Dieter.
I can see it now.
Okay. Yeah.
Listen how.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Wake up, would you please? Ho, I've got something to ask of you. Will you go out this evening? Will you bring back a little more than you brought back last night? And she says to him, yeah, Pop, which usually is translated to Daddy.
Yes, we did.
But since we ain't talking about Sweet Peter Peter, we talking about other
The
things.
concepts.
The concept.
You know, and as you said, it's, you know, there's two other books that follow it, which is Sweet Peter Peter, aka
Little Sweets.
Little Sweets. And then, of course, the final one was Little Sweets. And that one is interesting because it goes into, you might say, AI technology. And imagine.
Yes, it's true, isn't it?
Right. You have a.
What's going to happen to the pimps of the future and the hoes of the future?
Hoes of the future.
Because as long as there's pimps, there's going to be hoes and vice versa.
Yes, and I like it was, I think, both of those last two, you had these women doing Tai Chi.
Doing Tai Chi, of course.
Right, exercise, eating healthy. You must maintain your health if you're, especially if you're out there. Moving right along.
Look, moving right along. What we came back at you with after 2 weeks was a little bit of what's been building up in us.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, we are still here, and we're still doing what we love to do, which is to reveal works that I've written.
The Quadrant Balls, one of the stories I picked.
Oh, that's the point.
Okay.
Okay, the book is called Quadrant Balls and Other Stories.
Right.
And I don't know what made me do it, but I started thinking about South Africa and what happened after Mandela was elevated to power, became president. And we realized, we know now, that 78%, I believe the figure, 78% of South Africa is still basically owned by Afrikaners, white tribesmen. That was not supposed to be the case after Mandela took over and instituted reforms. It got rid of a lot of what they call petit apartheid. That petit apartheid was just the kind of thing we had here in Reconstruction, where they didn't want black people to drink off of fountains that was labeled white. In South Africa, the white was labeled blancs, and this was labeled non-blancs. So the discrimination didn't disappear with the elevation of black people to power. As a matter of fact, they sort of went along with the program. Money was pouring into South Africa from the sale of gold and diamonds and so forth. So they didn't want to rock the boat too much. In some ways, we had it happen here when people began to realize we can't get rid of the people who are working for us and making this country great. Not again, but making this country great. We can't do anything with them other than accommodate them. We can still hate them, but the hate is just a luxury that you put in.
Well, you know, it's that, and I think about all the illegal aliens who've been paying taxes. I've been paying taxes for years. I know this for a fact. And I couldn't quite understand, but years ago, when the computer system wasn't that great and people had false social security numbers, there were a lot of people who paid taxes with that name and social security number and never got anything back. A good fortune.
Okay, we know, we do know, and I really would like to end it on this point. We do know that the major neurosis of America is racism. And if there was some pill or there were a couple of incredible people, I would prefer the people. If there were a couple of incredible people, I don't care what color they are, for God's sake. If they could really reach the inner core of the white majority and say to them, don't you understand that maintaining this stuff in you by way of slogans, make America great again, and all the rest of the crap, if you were to get rid of some of this, you'd have a healthier nation. We could truthfully, honestly get together and create the America that none of us have ever had, but we could dream about.
Well, especially when one wants to say this is a Christian or religious nation, whatever one believes, whatever higher being one believes in, if that higher being was in your room watching you do the negative that you do, how would you feel about that? If you could actually see that God watching
You wouldn't be able to glamorize January 6th.
And then also what do you say to your children as you get older and you're selfish? Do your children then take advantage of you because you taught them to be selfish?
Please don't
Go ahead.
lecture. They might resent you for saying that, whoever they are.
Well, back to
Sweet Peter Dita.
No, not Sweet Peter Dita. Not back to Quadrant Ball. I
Ball.
like the story where a woman who was white and who was poor decided to infiltrate and become a member.
Well, what happened was much more than that. The story is about a white Christian nationalist organization in the United States of America.
That's another one of the stories in there.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm jumping ahead behind.
Yes, okay.
And they decided that they needed to have a leader who was pure white and meaning and so forth and so on. And lo and behold, they look up and there's a family that decided to leave South Africa because they were Afrikaners. They were the children of Malan and Fairwolf and the other white races. And they couldn't live in South Africa. They were still roiled by this racial tension and so forth. They come to America. When they come to America, and they sign passport
citizen papers.
application, citizenship, they say, right where it says the line race, African American. Nationality, African American. Of course, they came from Johannesburg, and they were Afrikaners, which means white. But when they came to America, they could have to have Afrikaner American, which translates to Black Americans. And the story is, I think, kind of wistful and kind of funny about what would happen if you had some white people right now. Let's end it on this note. Right now. If you had 50,000 white people, blonde, blue-eyed white people, who decided that they wanted to have racial equality, period. I mean, no matter what you would call them or they would call you, they would just simply find themselves in a situation where they were just simply people. We're not going to get rid of racial animosity and all that, but we can get rid of racist behavior. And here's Zola back again from somewhere.
Yes.
Where did you go?
I went to the ancestors.
Oh, to the ancestors.
And got a storyteller's story. This is the latest. This was the one before. When was this came out? The House. He writes so much. This came out in 2022. And
this is the one with the Afrikaners. I think he got a stock photo of those people, the little blonde family in the second chapter.
I think this came out in 24, I believe. And
look at this book.
Okay. Oh,
These are some of the books that I have to admit.
This is the Milan family, the African Americans, chapter 7 of the book, and quadrant balls. Another
It's an
story.
interesting story.
It is an interesting story. And it's in large enough print. In fact, it's sort of a tabletop book.
If you forget your glasses, don't worry about it.
You can still more than likely read. This is another picture of the ladies in New Orleans. And anyway, pictures throughout. Enjoy.
I'm going back to work now,
Okay.
but we're back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're back.
Hopefully,
We'll be doing some videos on Tai Chi too, so look at our ubiquitous tube channel. And if you like it, please subscribe. Okay? He's looking at you.
he's looking at you, babe.
Finish my ginger beer.